Durag Wisdom here, folks, and welcome to Earth Date Y2K 18.08.12. 86 days to the midterms, and today we're going to talk about Orwell, Traitor, Trump, and me. Every year that I grow older, the reality of the Grim Reaper at my shoulder gets stronger and stronger. The idea that my generation, the baby bunglers, in many ways we blew it. My generation really blew it, because it really breaks my heart every year that I live, that I have this realization that my generation, the generation of all that crap, and I remember it, my generation, at the end of it all, as we're on our way out, what we bequeath to the younger generation, a filthy planet filled with war and hatred and bloodshed, pollution, and Traitor Trump in the White House. When you see a baby bungler on the street like me, make sure you thank us for what we're leaving you. I always say how much you can learn from Orwell's 1984, especially in this time of U.S. Cold Civil War. Now I must illustrate this again for you. 1984, George Orwell's disturbing dystopian classic, introduces us to the principles of Ingsoc. Ingsoc is the newspeak word for English socialism. Totalitarians, whether right or left, always want to co-opt that word socialism and pervert it to serve their own nefarious purposes. The Soviet communists, the Nazi Germans at that time. Now, the principles of Ingsoc include the mutability of the past, which means that history is subject to constant revision to suit the purposes of the party. Doublethink, in which an orthodox party member holds two contradictory opinions and uses one or the other whenever it suits him, while at the same time forgetting that he held the opposite view in the first place. This allows the party rulers to wage, for example, war forever, while changing enemies and allies at will. Doublethink and the revision of history allows us all kinds of insanity. Newspeak is the language, and this is the third principle of Ingsoc. Newspeak is the language of totalitarianism. It is designed to limit thought by always limiting the number of word options. A character in the novel brags that the Newspeak dictionary gets smaller and smaller with each edition. In our era, I identify Newspeak with today's political language and sloganeering. Newspeak is a propaganda tool. Newspeak is reality TV and every stupid network program simply designed to make us as stupid as possible. Newspeak in 1984 is designed to get inside your brain and hollow it out so that you can accept the notion of what you see and what you hear, what you read, is not what is. The GOP as we know it is dead and has been replaced by the teabagger traitor Trumpists. I've never underestimated these people. Never. I knew that they were busy at work while the Democratic Party was trying to learn to be more conservative and corporatist. This conservative drive on the Democrats' part helped get us to where we are today. The Democratic Party simply crippled itself with corporate ideology and became so sick that all it could vomit was platitudes mixed with GOP light. The teabagger traitor Trumpists, TBTT for short, on the other hand, monomaniacally kept their goals in mind to undermine our rule of law, to destroy the social safety net, to decimate labor, to murder women's rights, to send people of color either out of the country or back into slavery, and take over all the branches of our federal government, including the Supreme Court, rendering that branch nothing but a Nazi kangaroo court. If only the Democrats didn't fall asleep to allow the pods to take over. If only the Democratic Party read the textbook novel on totalitarianism, 1984. Because today's traitor Trumpists are following the Orwellian playbook to the letter. Read that book. I promise you, you'll see everything clearly. What these creeps are doing, these traitorous, disgusting creeps are doing. If I never studied this book the way I have throughout my life, I would be slow to recognize Traitor Trump's totalitarian turd toppings. The TBTT uses Orwellian revision of history to make us believe that everything was bad under the opposing party. The idea that Traitor Trump was going to, quote, drain the swamp and make America great again, also in quotes, proved to be as false as Nixon was during Watergate 44 years ago. And by the way, today's the anniversary of the Charlottesville murder. The swamp is now filled to overflowing. Thanks to this lying creep. I'm not surprised. I've always known him to be a lying creep. He never fooled me. None of these creeps fooled me, because I read 1984 for one thing. Because he said he was going to drain the swamp. Well, the swamp is now filled to overflowing, graduating into sewage dump, because at least the swamp is still biologically alive. The country was getting better under Obama. The TBTT is hurling us backwards. The traitor Trump uses the term fake news, even though he is the master of the genre. Here we are with doublethink. The creep was the father of the birther movement, claiming that President Obama was not born here. The fact that the creep who founded this fake news is accidental president now simply repulses me. When Traitor Trump uses the term fake news, he is practicing doublethink, because he, again, is the master of lies and of fake news. Traitor Trump hopes that all of us revise history for his benefit and then use doublethink so that we forget that it was much better before this creep contaminated our lives. I will always remember how much better it was before this creep came in. I wouldn't own a house today if it wasn't for the policies of President Obama and the TDA I got thanks to my union. And both are being attacked by these racist, Nazi, traitorous, Putinist creeps. Now, there is no official newspeak today, but I use that term to mean our present political language, designed to stuff us with propaganda and empty our minds. The slogans, make America great again, drain the swamp, witch hunt, and fake news are examples of our present day newspeak. And the ultimate use of the revision of history, doublethink, and newspeak is the idea that the North American continent belongs only to the white race. How dare them? And one time the Americas belonged to people of color, up until the white invaders came with their modern weapons of that time and their virulent diseases that wiped out most of these cultures from our planet in a genocidal fashion. Imagine these invaders from extraterrestrial movies we like, the science fiction. Well, that's what happened to these native peoples of all these countries, these peoples of color, being invaded by these white, European slime balls. And now, thanks to revision of history, 1984's revision of history, thanks to the use of doublethink and political language newspeak, now the white descendants of these invaders, hoping that our memories are short, are claiming full rights on a land that they stole through rape, torture, blood, murder. How dare they try to close the doors of America today to all people who desire a life here because they happen to be of color? How dare these pale-faced creeps dedicate their lives to greed and hatred? How dare they take the holy, pristine lands of our Americas and ground them into oily dust? How dare they deny the rights of all people, regardless of color, a place here? I am glad that my 9th grade language arts teacher, Ms. Sullivan, told me to read 1984 after I'd seen the movie directed by Michael Anderson. It changed my life and has served me, with some notable stupid exceptions, as a shield for my mind against the assault of totalitarian madness. It will be with me, 1984, for the rest of my life, and will accompany me even then, even next November, into the polls, where I will vote for a future, not for a damaged and depraved past. We owe the young people more.